Barbara Ann Weston was born on October 1st, 1941, and raised in Virginia in a low-income farming household. Barb had a difficult childhood, and when she was a teenager, her father tragically passed away after falling from a horse-drawn wagon. After graduating high school, she left home in search of a brighter future, but when rumours of Barb's promiscuity reached her family, her mother disowned her. From then on, Barb was distant to most of her relatives, only remaining close with her sister Karina. In 1961, Barb married a man named Ran Yates, but within 2 years they were divorced. Shortly after, Barb had another brief relationship with one Jack Smithy. In 1963, Barb gave birth to her first son, Cole Smithy. His paternity was disputed, with Barb claiming Jack as his father, while Cole believed it to be Ran Yates. In 1968, Barbara married a traveling magician named Jerry Harmon. Their relationship was rocky at the best of times, and by the late 70s the two were separated. Cole claims to have been abused both mentally and physically by Barbara and his stepfather. He left home in his late teens, moving to California to become a film critic. In 1979, Barb met Robert Chandler in a pub, and 1 year later they were married. In 1982, they had their first and only child, Christopher Weston Chandler. Barbara retired from her job as a finance secretary in 1996. Much like her previous relationships, Barb and Bob eventually drifted apart. By the mid-2000s, they were sleeping in separate rooms. By the time Chris reached adulthood, Barbara was experiencing many health problems. Her obesity and laziness gave her the nickname Snorlax among trolls. She also developed a hoarding disorder, rendering many rooms in the Chandler household uninhabitable. Barbara was known to be narcissistic and manipulative towards her family members, refusing to cook or clean, and sometimes threatening to harm herself if she didn't get her way. Barb's relationship with her son was strange to say the least. While she was often emotionally abusive, she would also spoil and pamper Chris, refusing to hold him responsible for his actions. Even before the death of her husband in 2011, Barb and Chris were noted to be overly affectionate towards each other. By the late 2010s, Barb was making frequent appearances in Chris's YouTube videos. Viewers often commented on her apparent mental decline, with some believing that she may be showing early signs of dementia. Others pointed out her history of manipulative behaviour, suggesting that she was playing up her age for donations and sympathy. Whatever the case may be, to date, there is no confirmed diagnosis of any neurological or cognitive disability.
Yeah, it's rewind time.
¡Ja! ¡Bienvenidos a la cripta!
No panic at all. A remarkable 3-day rescue operation.
Put in a cage. I read about a
Surgery on a grape.
I love it. You're such a fucking hoe. I love it. You're such a
Ligma.
Lasagna, bitch, lasagna. Look at these
That's why I said that! Yo pierdo de que business.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Think you a back?
I really love you. Chop chop with you.
But I was not afraid. Say you walked away.
From your
Don't touch my spaghetti.
I guess they never miss, huh?
Weird flex, but be connect. What if I'm the monster?
On January 1st, 2019, Christine awoke to discover that her predicted dimensional merge had not occurred. Good New Year, everyone. I shall make my statement for now, and I want no backtalk or hateful commentary. The dimension merge of C197 and R1218 is still in progress. There is more damn red tape to work through, but our goal is still set, it is only delayed. Everyone of C197 is still very much awake. We have secured Arfois in a magic-proof cell a few days ago. Not even that witch's courier on Facebook can say otherwise, because I know better, and her words shall never get to or sway me any other way. I still remain the CPU Blueheart of the Commodore consoles, Quickville, and Comma, and everyone is safe and well. But for now, I shall delay online talk of the Dimension merge through my social media accounts until further notice. And I still remain very much married to Magi-Chan Sonichu, Crizel Rosechew, Sylvana Rosechew, and Mewtwo. There is room for at least one from this dimension, but there is no rush. For now, Happy New Year everyone. Dismiss. On the 21st, Chris uploaded a YouTube video addressing her haters.
For those who don't know, this war is between the CPUs, console patron units, deities, heroes, superheroes, and the villains and supervillains who are acting against the prophecies and destinies that all have been happening, are happening, and shall be happening. In the progress between this Earth of 1218 and our Earth of C197, I personally am not one for warfare, and I don't instigate or condone such. But we, the heroes and deities, do what we all must to stand and fight to defend the good of both worlds and dimensions. Now to all of you haters and hazers who try to take us, the heroes, and I, a CPU and a Sonichu, down with the crass and unnecessary remarks, commentary, and outdated dirt, footage, and crap. I look down upon all of you, and I feel shame and sorrow. And I do understand and recognize how all of you thinking I am not making progress in myself and around me, but I am making progress in myself. I'm developing my brain further. I'm getting stronger in my superpowers and everything. You all just do not understand. Haters and bullies, why can't y'all just find something else that is actually popularly disliked and hated, like Putin and his recent spiel against the LGBTQ in Russia? Or Donald Trump's freaking wall! Really taking money out of every single person's pockets. Is he thinking about the people? No, he's not thinking about us, he's thinking about himself. And I will recommend this, as I did to the haters and rebels in C197 earlier today. Go punch a reinforced bag of sand. Punch a bag.
Throughout January, Chris was blocked by several cast members of TF2 Analysis, an online animated series popular among the Brony community. Chris's mood reached an all-time low. Worst week ever to my mind, body and emotions. Blocked by more of those I like and appreciated. I'm not going to cry or have a tantrum, just more apologies to issue. If I did not have the greater destiny in all, I probably would just die from all of the rejection. Emmanuel, please, get my body to C197 now. This 1218 world is becoming all too much for me, soul and mind/body. Chris released her anger in a short video. Chris begged to be unblocked by the Brony analysts.
My fellow Bronies and Pegasisters who blocked me on Twitter. Just so many details. I mean, the obvious big thing, among which is the bad, outdated reputation I had that's like 12 years old nearly. Seriously, 2007, no, Joe's been hating on me since then. Except for more recently where everybody started blocking me and it became more and more and more and more and more and more and more, and the rejection just killed this mind in my body so much that my soul does not want to return home from C197 where all of our OCs actually do exist, coexist, and everything. And harassment. I do not harass anyone. The only things I do on Twitter are kindness and supportive type commentary. And among which those haters and harassers, they used outdated, and partially counting the stuff that was deceived on me last year during those 6 months by freaking idea guy and Stephen Boyd. They con $6,000 on me. You think I'm not upset about that either? I'm upset about that. I'm upset about all the rejection I'm getting from the people I like. I'm a fan of each and every one of you. I'm serious. I gotta get my mental sanity back, so please unblock me. Please unblock me. I'm very, very sorry for everything, for offending each and every one of you. Super serious. All those damn trolls and damn haters and harassers, they've been ruining my life since 2007! 2007! You think you've got the problems with handling the harshness, those comments going in and in and in and in and in at you like a knife stabbing at you, just bam, and you're like, I've been there. I've reacted just as badly, if not worse. So much catharsis. And I've got my problems with life at home as well, with we've been on the floor of the 4th grade, leaving my friends behind at school graduation, having very terrible time in college here and there, and being banned from places, being liked by some, hated by a bunch, and then just wondering how much is really shiny brighter, the light of good or the darkness of the hate. It tears you up, it tears your creativity, it tears your inspiration. It tore my inspiration too many times to count, and it threw me into years of depression. And I just want to be supportive and kind to each and every one of you. I want to help each of you with my histories, my sharings, and we can help each other. Doesn't that make sense?
1 week later, Chris was still depressed over being blocked on Twitter, so she comforted herself by acting out a therapy session with Dr. Wolf, creator of TF2 Analysis.
So, Mrs. Chandler, tell me what's on your mind. Well, Doc, on our Earth in Dimension 1218, I am very well known and famous for my creativity and my Sonichu comic books. And I have many fans and followers, amongst which in the fan base, they're trollish haters and harassers. Too much drama! Meanwhile, I've had to commute to here, Dimension C197, via astral projection, sending myself, the whole soul, to do all the work that I've been doing with everyone and by myself and so forth. The tough part is having to leave my body behind in 1218. Oh, but very soon I shall finally be able to bring my body here to C197. My body's mind, still very much functional and reasonably intelligent, but not as much as I, and yet more so prone to the autism and mentally retarded effects, and it gets very emotional. Oh, really? Could not take the blocking anymore. It makes me feel like I'm falling into another depression again. I feel like I want to just scream so much. I'm pretty much verging on becoming Hell, that's not good at all. That's really not good at all. Oh my, that is quite a troublesome conundrum. It becomes quite difficult to simply block out their relentless attacks, especially when they are formidable and able to rebound quick in a flash. You have a very strong soul, heart, and senses for kindness, positivity, and justice. It is a major crime for anyone to close you out, because you are plenty capable of becoming a really good ally or friend for most anyone. Does all this make sense with you? Fairly, more or less. I, the soul, am able to remain fluid in processing thought and speech, but to have to work with and around the brain in this body, my process can easily get interrupted. It is often prone to the autism. It can even fall into becoming seriously retarded, especially when it feels overloaded, overworked, very sad, angry, or upset, and so forth. So, it remains a quest for me to undo the chaos and getting the analysis all to unblock and like me. I mean, we don't have to be friends, but at the very least, in the once in a while moments, I really would delight in sharing the kind and or supportive thoughts and not be misconstrued as saying anything offensive or creepy, because I hardly ever am offensive or creepy. Do you all hear me out there in Dimension 1218's Earth? I am usually kind, supportive, and sincere. Never, ever, ever, ever misconstrued me again. Please. This discussion has been quite enlightening. Unfortunately, our time is up for now. Shall we continue on this next week? Yes, Doctor. I feel so much better being listened to and fully understood. You really are great for what you are. Thank you for listening.
In late 2018, the Kiwi Farms took notice of a man named Jacob Sockness, who frequently replied to Chris-Chan on Twitter. As the forum dug deeper, they uncovered an extremely disturbed individual. Jacob created his own fantasy world called Kidasuna, which was inhabited by an alien race called the Rokats. He worshipped a deity called Jacoba, the god of war and death. Jacob believed his purpose was to summon Jacoba to California to commit a genocide. He recorded his strange beliefs in a series of books containing barely comprehensible lore, magic, and rituals, often used for violent purposes. At some point, Jacob took an interest in Chris, relating to her struggles with autism. He spent several $100s on Chris's eBay, despite living on welfare and subsidized housing. By September 2018, Jacob was openly obsessed with Christine, and many of his Twitter replies were lustful in nature. His romantic advances were ignored, and by the end of January 2019, Chris blocked Jacob's Twitter account. On March 13th, Chris sold her painted shoes on eBay for $200 to Jacob Sockness. A few days later, Jacob uploaded an unboxing video to one of his YouTube accounts.
Yes, first seal. Seal is cracked. Let's see if it smells anything. No. It smells like bubble gum, actually. I'm not sure what the hell that's about. Ready? 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 Here it goes. That is so weird. I don't know why they smell like bubble gum. There's no foot odor at all on these things. I don't think she's put that many miles into these. This side has... Ooh, there's hair in there. Ooh, she did leave some hair samples, so send that to the cloning lab.
As Jacob adjusts the camera, his partially completed golem can be seen in the background. He intended on bringing the life-size doll to life using a sex ritual. Beside the golem stands his shrine dedicated to Chris-Chan, adorned with photographs, sketches, and mementos.
I actually have a photo that has her shoes on, and she's wearing them. And you can see the shoes are right there. The shoes that are in my house in my temple, the sacred temple. And they're right here. And now they're right here.
On April 24th, Chris received a malicious package in the mail.
Hey everybody, Christine Chandler coming to you live from home, and we just received a lovely little gift box. But my psychic powers are deducing and very good because before opening or even cutting the tape that this box is open with, foresaw gummy candies, shape of penises. Nice. It's okay. I'll enjoy those. But also, I sensed the glitter bomb. Glitter bomb. Yeah. I opened it all slowly, and no mess. Look, no mess at all. On where we opened it right here. No, all the mess is inside this one Ziploc bag that I put it all into. Yeah, you're not fooling me. You're not fooling me. You're not fooling any of us.
On June 12th, Chris came to the realization that she was no longer unemployed, as she had a job overseeing the dimensional merge. We are already employed by your boss's boss's boss due to our better and special powerful abilities. Therefore, for all of you haterade chugging get a job spouters out there, I suggest you shut up and enjoy your ability to settle in a cozy office or wherever. For the rest of us, the worlds and the dimensions are our offices, and we are doing our best so we can reach our respective fated destined promotions. My job is tough, and so is every other mentally and physically extensive and testing job and task there are in existence and meta-existence. Tangible is expanded in all of this, because I see them, I feel them, I love and appreciate just about every one of them. Especially my loves, Magi-Chan Sonichu, Crizel Rosechew, Sylvana Rosechew, Mewtwo, and fondfully our son, Sonichu and my Rosie Rosechew. I know and will never ever deny their full tangible existence. I converse with them in crowds of others of this dimension. I listen, I hold their hands, I hug, I love, I care. I know you all have at least one OC you feel the same towards. Never fear judgment from others. Talk and feel freely with them as you will. Is that clear? On the 13th, Chris relayed a message from Jesus Christ himself, who personally confirmed that the dimensional merge would happen soon. He asked for everyone to have faith in himself and all other deities, CPUs, and OCs. Chris elaborated on the dimensional merge in a video uploaded later that day.
Everybody, believe in the OCs, and everybody, the dimension merge is happening. And we could definitely make the dimension merge happen a whole lot faster and over with. Definitely for the better benefit of everybody. Everybody! Within both our dimensions and the combined dimensions. And Magi-Chan, if you can see him right now, he's literally sitting right here. Jesus Christ himself and our God Emmanuel, they're OCs too. Though they literally are those that have worked here. Like, your Lord Jesus Christ sacrificed himself for real here. He's an OC. I'm an OC. If anything, between you and your self counterparts, every one of you is an OC as well. So, if anything, you believe in everyone else, you believe in yourselves as well. Believe in Jesus Christ, Emmanuel. Who Emmanuel, by the way? God is a woman. And I have personally met them face to face. And if you don't believe me in that, I've literally touched Jesus' hands. I cry every time I feel that scar in his cross when he did that, but still. Anyway, as a guy as myself, I am unable to worship Jesus or any of the other deities, but I am friends with Jesus and all the other deities, including CPUs, so the least I could do is support them. Be a friend. That's what I do to the best of my abilities. Everywhere. Soul, brain, body. Literally working round the clock. Everywhere. Not a religion. Not a cult or anything like that. Certainly not freaking delusion, imagination, or whatever adjective right there. This is all real. So you listen to me good. Heed my words. We will complete this merge. We will all be consistent and coexistent with each other. And we will be able to hang out fully with our own creations. I'm very serious about that. It's happening. It's happening. Believe.
As the merge approached, Chris's magical abilities grew stronger. In early July, Chris confirmed that she would be attending the 2019 BronyCon at the beginning of August. She asked for her followers to donate through Patreon to help fund the trip. On July 11th, Chris heard from a troll that Jacob Sockness was interested in buying her dirty bathwater, which he would use in his rituals. Seeing this as an opportunity to raise money for BronyCon, she refollowed Jacob on Twitter, much to his delight. Around this time, Chris's eBay account was restricted, likely due to her low customer satisfaction rating. On July 14th, Jacob Sockness offered to open a new eBay account on Chris's behalf. The next day, Chris retweeted a GoFundMe campaign set up by Sockness, who hoped to raise $300 as a shipping fund. Jacob failed to act on his promise, however, and Chris's eBay was never restored. By late July, Chris and Jacob were speaking privately through direct messages, validating each other's delusions. Chris began incorporating elements from Jacob's mythology into her Sonichu drawings. Likewise, Jacob adopted many of Chris's ideas relating to the dimensional merge. They didn't always see eye to eye, however. On July 25th, Jacob tweeted that Chris was being controlled by trolls. Chris responded, "Firstly and mainly, I am not under anyone's control. And second, I still support the Rocat and all the good peoples in Andromeda. I need to meditate further for more sound responses and thoughts. For now, I will simply state that your research is valuable indeed." Going silent. On Reddit, Jacob announced that he would be traveling to Chris's house in the near future. "I know her house is full of stuff, so maybe we'll do the ritual in the backyard or something. I'm hoping she's able to deal with my personality when I'm not with any of my head powers in me. I know I'm very childlike when they're not in me. I have to have my morning hugs and goodnight hugs and a bedtime story. At home, this is easy. I have the doll of classic Chris and her audio comics." On July 30th, Chris asked her fans to be respectful during BronyCon.
Yes, I'm going to BronyCon this weekend from August 1st to the 4th. All 4 days. Getting there Thursday morning, so forth. But let's be real, all right? I mean, I'm not going to be welcoming of hatred or malcontent, and you're going to get reported to security by me personally if you do anything bad. So please remember that. Approach me kindly and it's all good. Approach me badly and... Anyway, hope to see all the good people at BronyCon. Be respectful, be kind, be positive to each other. Have a good, safe day.
Chris arrived in Baltimore for BronyCon on August 1st. As usual, she met with many of her fans. Chris went to the Grand Galloping Gala and was seen clapping along with the music. On day 3, Chris attended the TF2 Analysis Anarchy panel, hosted by several Brony analysts that had blocked Christine on Twitter. At BronyPalooza, an all-night concert featuring several Brony musicians, Chris was sighted with her Nightstar plushie. She later confirmed that Magi-Chan and Kryzel were at the convention and that they danced together. Due to fading enthusiasm in the fandom and the end of the Friendship is Magic generation of My Little Pony, 2019 would be the last BronyCon. The closing ceremony was an emotional event for all bronies. Chris expressed her satisfaction with the convention on Twitter. "I must have been recognized and approached by well over 200 awesome and kind individuals. I just want to tell you all that it really touches and humbles me to see more and more sincere kindness and appreciation from everyone. I feel better understood and supported. Thank you all." On August 14th, Magi-Chan made an announcement on his official Twitter account. "I am pleased to announce that my wisdom and being has made its way fully into 1218. As soon as we get one or two details cleared up, I shall personally deliver a video address with my insights. I assure everyone that the merge is nearing completion as we speak. Good night." The following day, a fan asked Chris about her daily activities. It was Magi-Chan that responded. "Christine takes care of the household, goes out as needed, does a bunch of heavy lifting. Her brain is working tremendously between dimensions and worlds, heavy in psychic powers, electricity and magic. She draws and writes as well in progress. I help see to that personally. Christine also keeps herself clean and proper as well. Not easy when you're someone who has a perspirational moment under duress and heat. She does not sweat excessively, it's a nervous thing. The point is, Christine works hard and tough, that is all." On the 16th, Magi-Chan defended Jacob's Sockness after Twitter users accused him of having evil intentions. "Indeed, it is true that his intentions are only kind and well with Christine. I had foreseen this of him long ago, and it continues to hold up. I do not judge him for what he does in his private times either. It is well to simply overlook those personal moments when and after they are posted. His inner child simply needs nurturing at times. Doing so will reduce the number of awkward posts." Magi-Chan also approved of Jacob's efforts to visit Chris and asked fans to donate money to cover his travel expenses. Meanwhile, Jacob was attempting to summon Chris into his living room using magic. He tweeted that Chris's energy was already hugging, touching, and tickling him, and he wanted to be able to tickle her back. He shared photographs of his golem, which he hoped would act as a conduit for Chris's soul. Though the ritual was unsuccessful, Jacob felt that the doll had an alive feeling to it, and vowed to sleep with it to see if anything would happen. On August 18th, Magi-Chan published a video, recorded 3 days earlier.
Good day, everyone. It is I, Magi-Chan Sonichu. I have taken possession of Christine's body, as we have swapped bodies. Her soul is in my body, as you can see right behind me, on the opposite side of the dimension curtain. I am recording this today, as definitely backed up by Christine's second phone. It's August the 15th. You could definitely tell that it is I as opposed to Christine, not only in the vocal tones, but also my behavioral patterns. The dimension merge continues to progress. An event will happen very soon where my body fully comes into this 1218 dimension. And I will be swapped back with Christine, and everything will definitely further progress from there. It is quite different being in a human body as opposed to my Sonichu body. Especially in the brain. My brain works a lot better. This brain, it needs work. But I am working on it. I am improving. Well, that aside anyway, still working on it. She's got power. I'm helping her find it. And she's borrowing my power too. She'll be making the journey very soon to progress.
everything there is. We will all be able to see and coexist with each other very soon. At least at this point, our wisdom, intuition, other thoughts are able to be shared in this realm. So take that as you will. Kind of take care of each other.
On the 25th of August, Magi-Chan attempted to re-engage with Null, the owner of the Kiwi Farms and former member of the Guard Dogs. When Null refused to address Magi-Chan directly, he became angry and cut off contact. When asked if he would intervene should Jacob Sockness begin abusing Chris, Null made his position clear. "I'm not doing shit. Stop tagging me into the Chris board. I don't care." On August 28th, Magi-Chan and Jacob Sockness conversed over Discord. Magi-Chan admitted that Sockness looked sexy in his onesie. He planned on getting Christine back to her own body so that she could take a trip to California to be with Jacob. Magi-Chan also forgave Jacob's past sins and suggested that he showed promise and potential for a role in the upcoming Dimensional Merge. On the 31st, Magi-Chan warned Jacob Sockness against the worship of Jacoba, as according to Magi-Chan, the alien god used his position to incite and enslave, which was not a good thing. On September 7th, Jacob Sockness posted a transcribed conversation between himself and Magi-Chan to Reddit. Jacob asserted that there were only two ways for the merge to progress. Either Jacob and Chris would have to use sex magic, or Jacob would be forced to make a blood sacrifice by murdering an infant. On September 13th, Magi-Chan responded to a Twitter question asking who their guilty pleasure waifu was. That is indeed a question one would put forward to others in their same dimension, but we can take it a step further and ask the OCs such a question. They tend to have one of you all here as their waifu. That is one way one can reconnect with their respective OCs. Admittingly, a waifu I had long ago while they were still developing before Christine came around were Robert and Barbara. Barbara was more of a guilty pleasure waifu, while Robert was quite a successful model amongst others in Dimension 1218. After a full month possessing Christine's body, Magi-Chan announced that they would be swapping back. Over the past month, I have had many a pleasure to leave my initial wisdoms, thoughts, and art with the aid of Christine's body, hands, and muscle memory. This will be the big step for us all. I shall continue tweets from this account from time to time, but I shall also be making my presence better known, personally, with all of you and everyone else in the near future. Should any of you see the certain shade of lavender, know that I am nearby, fully and tangibly doing what is needed there. I look forward to personally being seen and shaking hands with all of you, one at a time. Later that day, Christine announced that she had returned home. She shared screenshots from Discord that explained her adventures over the previous month. Using Magi-Chan's body, Chris and Mewtwo ran from Virginia to California in a single day. On the way, she stopped in Utah to visit her friend Anna McLaren. Once they reached California, Chris visited Jacob Sockness. She stated that despite his online persona, young Jake was a kind and civil person. Jacob was in possession of a body pillow that looked like Christine, so Chris merged with the pillow. Afterwards they cuddled. Unfortunately, Jacob let in the evil of Jacoba, so Chris and Mewtwo had to move on. While on her trip, Chris used vibrations to make Magi-Chan's body visible in Dimension 1218. Many people saw Magi-Chan's body, so Mewtwo teleported them to a temple where they could meditate. Chris explained that Magi-Chan's body functioned much better than her own, and with his higher functioning brain, she was able to perceive the cosmos. She witnessed her parents' entire lives, her own birth, the Big Bang, and other moments of history in full detail. She also foresaw that Jacob Sockness' visit to Virginia would be pleasant and eventful, and that Jacoba would no longer influence him. She reiterated that Jacob was a kind gentleman, even when considering his past sins. In late 2018, a handful of Christine's followers gathered together in a Discord server called the Sons of the Miscreants. Members of this Discord server would eventually call themselves the Arbitarch Quick Alliance. One of their associates, known as Maker Knight V, managed to get into contact with Chris after tracking down her phone number online. In mid-2019, some members of the Alliance fractured away, wishing to act as a successor to the Guard Dogs in defending Chris from online trolls. They called themselves the Watchmen and set up a Discord server known as The Place. Like many before them, the Watchmen roleplayed as Sonichu characters so that Chris was willing to engage with them. By the end of September, Chris was in frequent contact with the Watchmen and occasionally posted to their Discord. During the latter half of September, Jacob's passion for Chris only intensified. On September 22nd, Jacob responded to a Reddit user who asked if a sex tape would be made during his visit to Chris's home. "If there is a tape made, I'll be keeping the only copy to protect it. I'm sure I'll just destroy her ass like carpeting bombing Germany in World War II. It'll be in flaming ruin. Too bad I'm the owner of the GoPro, and I'm not releasing this shit to anyone. I might do a pay video, and I'll get grounds on copyright to take down the farms." A few days later, Jacob made an announcement on Reddit. "I have my train ticket and a wonderful surprise for her. I will be leaving shortly, not saying exactly which days, but the next time I'm seen, I'll be with my heavenly goddess's warm embrace. Just thinking about it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. We got so much planned for the Dimensional Merge and hoping that it will be possible for me to move there, or her to move here in the future. It's going to be so much fun to have that alone time with someone so sweet and loving. She may never let go of my sweet little body, and I'm okay with that." Fearing that Jacob may be a danger to Chris, members of the Watchmen managed to convince Chris to reconsider his visit. They had her record a voice message directed at Sockness.
Okay, this is Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu, and I extend this message out to all the individuals who are actually not just all bark and no bite, wanting to intercept Jacob Sockness on his trip to Virginia, or at this point possibly back to California, because I'm pretty much going to tell him the visit is off. I want you all to intercept and talk with him. Thank you.
Christine also made a statement on Twitter. "I have had a really rough day yesterday. My soul, aura, vibrations, and psychic senses were hopping the walls with me. I even fainted, and Mewtwo had to possess my limbs to get me from my desk to bed. I crashed and slept for a few hours, and then to hear the more recent statement of him, and my body just extensively heating up, counter-arguing as I could, but I just could simply no longer overlook the red flags of fated warning. When your body gets hot like a macago, and it hurts, you do not ignore it. Besides which, my senses and psychic links have been seriously going off and on like crazy recently. So, mainly on that, I ultimately chose to send Jake back home, and I made the statement to make sure he gets the message. I am really sorry, Jacob. As much as I do love and care about you, it is simply too soon." A disappointed Jacob apologized on Twitter, explaining that he would never harm Chris, as he hoped to visit her more than once. A few days later, Chris announced that she would attend another Brony convention, BABSCon, in April 2020. She asked fans for donations, hoping to raise between $2,000 and $3,000. Jacob saw this as another chance to meet Christine and decided to attend the convention as well. He resumed his aggressive flirting campaign and continued posting degenerate ramblings on Reddit and Twitter. On October 19th, Chris mentioned on Discord that she had to drive her mother to the hospital due to high blood pressure. The doctors found nothing wrong, and Chris concluded that her medical issue was likely a combination of stress and the incoming magic energies from C-197. On the 28th, Chris posted photographic evidence of the Dimensional Merge. "Everyone, the merge is happening. This store is in Jersey, literally where Gotham City is. Gotham's coming over." And at WKBH 1983 found a new Staples in his area, where there had not been one in a very long time. The fires in California, clearing for the merge. In early November, Jacob Sockness began targeting Chris's allies, likely in an attempt to isolate her. On November 2nd, he tweeted supposed proof that Null was evil, calling him the devil in human flesh. Chris, who was already displeased by Null's unwillingness to acknowledge her delusions, immediately accepted the allegations. Jacob made similar posts about Maker Knight V, calling her a manipulative demon. Christine refused to believe that Jacob would say such things and assured Maker that the statements were made by Jacoba, speaking through Jacob's body. "Listen, everyone, please, I am very well aware of Jacob and Maker. They are both good people with the same goal of concern of my own health and well-being. Jacob is his own individual, but he is presently still easily manipulated by Jacoba. Magi-Chan and I have been working tough and hard to remedy that. We know everything about all this, and we have plans for counter-defenses and measures should anything bad happen. But know this, I, Christine Weston Chandler, Sonichu, CPU Blueheart, am not being manipulated by anyone. Chris begged Maker and Jacob to work together for the future and sake of the Earths between both dimensions. On November 11th, Jacob created a list of people he considered trolls and told Chris to block them on social media. Chris was uncharacteristically skeptical and took issue with a number of inclusions on Jacob's list, including Maker. Chris asked Jacob to use common sense in discerning between those with constructive criticism and those with truly bad intentions. Later that day, Jacob posted a supposed conversation between Magi-Chan and Michiro, an alter ego of Sockness. Michiro stated that Jacob's powerful energy was key to triggering the dimensional merge, and described Jacob's deep, childlike attachment to Christine, seeing her as a mother figure. They discussed the idea that Jacob could help prepare Christine for motherhood. Since both Jacob and Chris had male genitalia, Michiro suggested that one of Christine's transgender male fans could carry her prophesized daughter, Crystal. On Twitter, Chris confirmed that the conversation took place, but said that Jacob had taken liberties. She also rejected the idea that a fan would be Crystal's parent, as her son, Sonichu, was destined to be the mother of Chris's child. The Watchmen continued to try and distance Jacob's Sockness from Chris. On November 26th, Chris finally had enough of Jacob's romantic advances. I do love and care for Jacob, but I am unable to be close to him because of the likely reckoning that would happen upon these dimensions 12, 18, C197, and all local in this timeline should he and I get too close in our relationship. It does sadden me to realize all this, but I must be strong. But in reiteration, I am not and cannot be Jacob's sweetheart. I still care about him very much, and I put my foot down on any future instances of hatred and bullying upon him. In response, Jacob demanded that Chris stop using his fantasy elements in her drawings, claiming that Kidasuna was copyrighted, and that unless they were married, Chris had no right to use his content. Jacob continued to resurface every few weeks, but his relationship with Chris would never be the same. Their interactions on Twitter became more and more adversarial. Jacob refused to back down and vowed to meet Chris at the upcoming BABSCon. Unfortunately for Jacob, BABSCon would be delayed due to unforeseen circumstances.
Chinese health authorities are still working to identify the virus behind a pneumonia outbreak in the central city of Wuhan.
Now setting off global concerns.
Tonight, U.S. cases of coronavirus more than doubling.
More than 800 fatalities. The Dow plunging.
The misinformation scrambling. How could I make you? Thank you for the first get me out of my misery.
Cut it up like this. Look, this is a piece of fat. You've never seen it. What better way to raise my own?
The word gay.
Stay
Elected officials taking unprecedented measures.
We may be pressing pause on our economy. More than 24,000 now nationwide.